People like InvestorLift is doing some pretty cool stuff with their AI. I heard somebody say this a while back, and this was kind of a triggering way to think about it, which is the most capable person today versus the least capable person today. In 5 years, the least capable person today will be more capable than the most capable person is right now. In other words, the way these tools are going to integrate into your life, it will be so much more than anything we've ever imagined. The search thing, and this is just an insight, you need to go to ChatGPT right now, pause the episode, go to ChatGPT and ask it for whatever your service is. So a lot of people, our clients, work in real estate. If I needed to sell a house in my town today, who should I call? And see what happens. Because it's going to show up with a bunch of names and it doesn't necessarily follow the same trends as your Google search. And so if you're not thinking about that part of it, all of a sudden you're going to wake up in a year from now and half the world's using that for search and you're way behind the 8 ball. So that kind of stuff is taking over. Gary had on his Meta glasses. I have a pair of those before we started here. That's the wearables and that kind of stuff are going to be taking over. I just saw yesterday, they're doing it for hearing aids now. They're just glasses with little clips in the back. You don't wear hearing aids anymore and it's all AI. I mean, Gary mentioned like the video stuff they're doing is unbelievable. Design is still really bad. Somebody did a lot of design work. The design still looks really chintzy. But I tell all of our clients right now, if you're not getting your team to use AI on a daily basis, you're going to either have to replace your team a year or two from now, or you're going to be out of business because the ability for this stuff to multiply the efficiency of an employee is so exponential. It literally, somebody's going to run past you. They're not going to walk past you in competition for business. They're literally going to run past you like you're sitting still if you don't start using these tools. I mean, the stuff we used to have to get 4 and 5 video editors for. I mean, Dill, we throw it in a system now and we're done. It's just, it's not even a competition anymore.
So how does somebody implement these things practically? Like, we're in a lot of real estate companies. What are ways to, you got to train the employees in AI. You got to like say, you're going to use these tools whether you like it or not. Like, what's the practical way to say, okay, here's a new set of tools we have to use in the business or else we're going to fall behind, and how to get that actually put in?
Funny thing is a lot of AI doesn't have to be trained on it. It just needs to be put in place, right? Like it can run behind the scenes. We have, there's an AI software that a lot of our teams will use in order to audit their sales calls, right? Mm-hmm. And that's an AI that'll like literally tell their boss or whoever that they're in compliance or they're not in compliance. It'll take track of like all the things they're saying. It'll hear the customer talking and it'll actually give you a script in live moment of telling you like, this is something that you should say as a rebuttal or how to overcome their objections. Like you can train it, but here's the thing. Like, I don't think it's like something we have to get our employees trained on. I do think you're going to have a technology department in the future. Like we have an HR and things like that, where you're going to need somebody full time that's focused on implementing and developing AI in your company. And here's the bigger reason why I think you're going to left behind if you're not using AI. I always tell people, I don't think it's going to replace jobs. It'll replace the people that aren't using AI, right? I think AI will actually create jobs. I think you'll need more AI in your business, and so you'll actually create jobs. Now, people that were doing tasks before, they'll just get reused in other areas that are in supportive of AI. Just like all technology.
Better jobs. It's going to create better jobs. Yeah.
Create better jobs. Yeah. So like, I think that's where we'll see things, but AI in general, I mean, think about like what Doge is doing with AI right now and finding waste in the government. People are going to start doing that in their own companies. I think the other thing that we're going to find with AI is why we wrote Rise. I mean, Rise is written with a lot of prompts in it. The heart, head, and speech prompts. It helps you build your job descriptions, right? Like, me and Brandon have a goal of turning Rise into like an AI where you can like answer the questions and it helps you build out your business operating system for you. That's where we're going with this. The other thing I think with what we've done in Rise is really, really genius with the systems is the 9-box, right? So when we do a 9-box assessment of somebody's process, we can see very quickly, does this process bring value and is it essential? And things that bring value that are not essential or things that are essential but don't bring value, we need to be looking for AI solutions to automate these things and get them done, because that's going to drive our costs down in our companies. And when our costs go down, we can now lower the price to our customers and be more affordable and cheaper to people. And the more affordable and cheaper we are, the more competitive we're going to be, right? And so when companies aren't like getting more productive with AI, their costs are going to stay high. They're not going to be able to drop their price. And in return, they're going to end up losing to their competition. And we're
That's
going to
right.
be in a bad place if we're not using it in the next 3 to 5.
Yeah, it's common. I mean, it was Starbucks just I think it's today or tomorrow is laying off like 1,100 of their corporate staff. You see these cutting, right? So I mean, the theme of the word this year that I kept hearing over and over again was we're right sizing our business. We're right sizing our business, and they're right sizing it based on the efficiencies that they're finding. Practicality. I mean, if you're doing any kind of sales type of stuff, the worst thing to do in sales was always role playing, trying to get another person to pretend like the customer. The AI will role play with you now. You don't need somebody else to do it. You can literally just turn it on and have a conversation and tell it, I want you to act like a 55-year-old woman who has a distressed property or whatever the case might be, and just role play it out from there. I think you do have to give your team some prompts. I think you do have to give them some things. My favorite thing right now, I just saw a team do the other day, is they took their team and said, hey, look, we're going to take an afternoon and we're going to call it, I think they call them a Hack Fest. And literally it's whoever comes up with the best thing that we can implement into our business from AI in the next 4 hours, we're going to give you a $1,000 bonus. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And they just cut the team loose and said, look, here's the chats. I've got a client recently who's building, they're giving everybody on their team agents and giving them a set of prompts to use with it and building them their own custom agent. If you're not thinking about how you're going to do that, again, it doesn't have to be perfect today, but this is kind of like years ago when the first time you handed your team like cell phones and you're like, figure out ways to not have to come back to the office. Figure out ways to not have to do something that we were doing before. I mean, I'm using v0.dev right now to build all of my spreadsheets, all of my tools, all of my things. And quite frankly, they're pretty bad right now. They're not great, but I'm figuring out how to develop websites and code websites without having to code websites. The practice is not so I can build these tools. I'm going to use them because I think they're fun. The practice is if you're not messing around with them and playing with them. We all know this. Like you learn things by playing with them. And I would just tell your team, look, we are going to take 2 hours every week and just go play with AI tools. Go figure out what we can do better as a company by using these integrations, because that way when you come with the thing that is fully baked and it's like, here's the fully cooked product that we are going to actually use in our business, you're not catching everybody by surprise and nobody's looking in and there's no resistance to the change. We all know this was happening. We all know we're going this direction. This integration is going to take place. If you don't want to get on board with it, then it's not a matter of you're going to lose your job. It's a matter of you're not going to be able to keep up. The pace is going to move too fast. And so I think you're going to have to figure this stuff out.
Just to clarify, Hackfest has nothing to do with the college you went to. Is that right?
No.
Okay.
It's like hackers, computer hackers.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
computer
Okay.
hackers.
All right. Maybe we should offer that as a name for like college days or something. Okay. Moving on. The Luka trade. Probably the biggest just blindside, I think, at every aspect. I think there are some people pretending like they didn't know that maybe had some information maybe, but just a total blindside to, it seems like everybody involved.
Yeah.
The
I
players.
went on a diet as soon as I heard it was happening because, I mean, if you're going to get fired for carrying an extra few pounds, I figure I'd probably just get on a diet right away.
Was that the reason?
Yeah, that's what they said.
Oh my
That
goodness.
They didn't want to give him a supermax because he was carrying some extra weight, and they were worried about the weight and injury. Yeah, so
Yeah, I mean, I read, so a lot of people are talking about the trade and like how, like, the GM, they want the GM fired and all that. But I mean, truth is, at the end of the day, they didn't feel he was a good culture fit. They felt like he didn't fit their culture, and like, and now, here's the problem with that is now the, like, maybe they have the wrong culture.